Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, AEW Dynamite features, of course, a title versus title match. Kazuchika Okada puts the AEW Continental title on the line against Bryan Danielson, but his belt is also on the line, the AEW World title. However, the Continental title will be defended only for 20 minutes. So, we're going to see how that progresses. And of course, a lot of things have happened, but as you know, they were in Pittsburgh. Many of you may know it as Britt Baker country. Basically, that's where the doctor, Britt Baker, is from. So I'm looking forward to see how this entire event will go around. But first things first, we have, of course, with GLEAT's latest event, G Pro Wrestling 79, featuring a lot of good matches in this one, especially, the feuds between certain factions. And then, of course, Stardom with their latest Korakuen Hall event. This one is, of course, the prelims before this coming weekend. As you know, Tam Nakano will defend the red belt against Suzuki, Natsupoi against Tekla. A lot of things have happened, but the most shocking part is someone from New Japan made their appearance and made a disgusting remark for what they did. So we will be talking all of that as well. And then, of course, we will cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. I think it's time to just hit the highway and begin with our very first review, and this one is from the Japanese promotion GLEAT. Okay, GLEAT, G Pro Wrestling version 79. So basically, this is nothing too significant, but we do have an upcoming a big event coming up later on, so we'll get to that at some point. But I think this is much of the prelims. So there was a contract signing they set up for the Lidet UWF title match. This is more of like the whole MMA mixture wrestling style. Between, of course, the champion Katsuhiko Nakajima and Masakatsu Funaki. So basically, they did that. They said their little whatever, what they had to say about each other, all that stuff. But yeah, So we'll get to that when the day rides. But for now, let's just jump into the very first match. We have Issei Onitsuka, Blanca Maho, and Shima. They take on Minoru Tanaka, Michiko, and Kuma Arashi. So the match, nothing too special about it. I mean, nothing too significant. But however, I felt bad for Blanca. I mean, those who ever seen Kuma, he's a big dude, and Blanca, she's a very well, not small girl, but more not petite or anything. She got pancaked by Kuma. I don't know why he did that. People were like in shock that he's really gonna do it. He's he gonna senton Blanca, and he did, and that's how it won. I'm like, oh man, I felt bad for Blanca for that. But wow, yeah. So basically, he won just like that. Next match, we have Yu Iizuka, Raki Aitaka. They take on, of course, anti-Glee monsters, consisting of Brass Knuckle Junes and Ryuichi Kawakami. So you would guess that this match was going to be a very interesting one. Nope. As always, they decided to cheat by using Brass Knuckles. Basically, what happened is Brass Knuckle June decided to bring out his brass knuckles to distract the referee while he tossed another one to Kawakami, and he did that to Iizuka to pick up the win. So basically, he cheated his way through. So that's what happened. Our next match, we have Juji and Soma Watanabe taking on Bulk Orchestra members Quiet Storm and Hayato Tamura. So nothing too significant about that. But however, there were interesting moments in this one. But it was Hayato who defeated Junji with a big, strong lariat to pick up the win. Now we got the other members of Bulk Orchestra consisting of Koki Awasaki and Kazuma Sakamoto to take on BGI's Soido Monji and, of course, Harley Jackson. So nothing too significant on this one either. I mean, there are certain powerhouses in this match, but however, it was Soido Monji who gave a lariat to the back of the head to Awasaki to pick up the win. Now our next match is a very interesting one. We have Takehiro Yamamura versus Chris Ridgway. Now, however, it's not been confirmed that he is no longer part of Strong Arts, so he parted ways to go on his own thing. So it's very interesting to hear that. But he did pretty good. But however, when it comes to Chris Ridgway, he is a very interesting wrestler with technical aspects. So he used his submission techniques in order to win. He's nothing compared like Zack Sabre Jr., but he is a bit of an aggressive type, you know. Try to think other ways to put you in a submission. Kind of like Zack, but Zack has another ability where he can try to escape the submissions. That's basically right there. But Chris Ridgway won in that fashion. Now our next match is a UWF Tag Team Title Room match. We have Daichi Hashimoto and Masakatsu Funaki taking on Takanero Ito and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, don't forget, Funaki and Kajima, this is a prelim before they get to the UWF title match. They'll take place later soon. But the real question, how this is going to be, I mean, Nakajima, he's not just an excellent striker, but he does have submission techniques. But when it comes to Funaki, he did that himself when he applied a chokehold on Nakajima. So this is the real question we ask. Will this solve the same results in their title match that's coming up? Well, we just gotta wait and see until that day happens. So, we'll find out. Our next match, we have Strong Arts, El Lindaman, Seki Yoshioka, and T-Hawk taking on BGI's Kotaro Suzuki, Tetsuya Izushi, and Kaito Shida. Now, the one thing that is a factor, if you look at Izushi and Ishida, they're both currently the G Infinity Tag Champions. So if they defeat them, that's what it was. And I think that was the idea of what El Lindaman was attempting to do. He nearly could have won against Izushi to hopefully get a shot of the tag titles. But however, Izushi outsmarted him and picked up the win, which was a real disappointing loss for him. But I'm sure they're going to find a way to jump into the tag team title picture. So we'll see when that day happens. But for now, we'll leave things as it is. with GLEAT and move on with Stardom. Okay, Stardom. Nighter in Korakuen. This is just a recent one that happened on a Wednesday. Now, these are just prelims for October 5th, which is going to happen this weekend. We opened up with Neo Genesis, consistent of Azumi and Suzuki. They take on against Cosmic Angel members Aya Sakura and, of course, leader uh, and the current Red Belt champion and 1/3 of the artist champs, Tam Nakano. Now, remember, Tam Nakano issued the challenge to Zuzu for the Red Belt, but Zuzu and Tam have been going back and forth. Zuzu has been always hated Tam for last year because she always believes that Tam is nothing but a big phony because she did not I don't know if she believes that Tam was a phony because she didn't challenge her. I mean, Tam was going through a lot when she was injured, and of course Tam Nakano, we know she's been through a lot in her entire life, especially when it came to people that tried to take her down. You look at what she went through with Natsuko Tora, tried to break her knee, but that didn't overcome. But however, as always, even though the feud continues, it was Azumi who picked up the win on Sakura with the double foot stomp to pick up the win. And of course, exchanges were made during the post-match promo between the two. So we will see what happens. Our next match, we have Hate, consistent of Azusa Inaba, Ruka, and Rina, taking on Neo Genesis, Tomoka Inaba. Oh no. We had, of course, Neo Genesis member God's Eye members, of course. Tomoka Inaba, Hina, and Saki Kashima. So basically, you know how that is with Hate when it comes to their things. But in fact, it was Raka who actually picked up the win when she applied a choke powerbomb onto Hina. So basically, that ended. But of course, Rina put out a post-match promo indicating that she will not allow Miyu Amasaki to pick up the win. So we will see what that happened. No, never mind. Yeah, it's Miyu Amasaki who joined it. She basically was helping, had help from Neo Genesis to help. Yeah, she was in this one. But anyway, Tomoka Inaba was in fact basically another person that was helping them out on this one. Now, our next match, we had the Battle of the Momos. Basically, Momo Watanabe and, of course, Momokogo. Now, of course, Momo Watanabe doesn't like Momokogo for obvious reasons because they have the same name. But, of course, Momo, who is a well-respected wrestler, but also very cocky and very dangerous, she defeated her by using the Hito Danashi, and just like that, she won. Now, we got the other members of We have the members of EXV, Hanako, Waka, Rian, and Zena taking on God's Eye members Rana Yagami, Minami. Well, she's not I don't know if she is or she's not. Lady C and Shuri. But we haven't seen Manami. Those who know who Nanami, she's from Diana. She's been with that promotion. She joined God's Eye as a member, what was it, 2 years ago, or I think, when God's Eye first established, and she joined the group during a New Blood event. We haven't seen her for quite some time, but she was able to pick up a win against Rian when she applied the Spanish suplex. So basically, there's that. But I'm sure she'll be a full-time member of God's Eye. So we'll see how things will rolls up. Now, another prelim that we will see during, of course, at Nagoya, we have FWC consisting of Koguma and Azuki taking on Neo Genesis, Mace-Sita, and Starlight Kid. Now remember, the feud between those two has started when, of course, Azuki was in her depressed mode. Those who don't remember what was going on, Azuki was being in a depressed state where, of course, she couldn't take the fact that she lost another opportunity to win the white belt. But as for Starlight Kid, she's like telling her, get your shit together. I lost. It took me 8 tries to win the high speed belt. So don't give me that crap. So, but also, Starlight Kid even had the nerve to tell Azuki, You once told everybody that I don't need to be around stars. Stars doesn't need me. Stardom doesn't need me. Well, you're the one who left. Stardom didn't need you at the time. So basically, they hit a nerve. Even though they were both inbreds, so that the whole thing. But of course, their feud could not even de-escalate no matter what. This match ended in a double countout. So that ended right there for them. So needless to say, we will see how things will go. Now, our next match, we have an 8-woman elimination tag match. We have Hate members, Sayaka Mitani, Konami, Tekla, and Natsuko Tora taking on Cosmic Angel members, um, Sayaka Kurara, Yuna Mizumori, Sayuri Ano, and Natsupoi. Now remember, Natsupoi and Tekla will be facing each other in Nagoya for the white belt. However, this match started with elimination match. Natsuko Tora took out Mizumori, and then of course Kurara was eliminated, and Kamitani. Then of course Natsuko Tora eliminated Natsuko Tora, but both Sayuri Anu and Konami were limited, and this led to Natsupoi and Tekla in the ring. However, the biggest shocker is Clark Connor showed up and helped Tekla, spearing that little piece of shit. Yeah, he speared a woman. Everybody were not happy. And of course, this is troubling. Now, people are speculating because of his presence, this could lead to the crossover event, the historic crossover we had. If you guys remember, there was that collaboration between both Stardom and New Japan. So that could lead that. And because of this match, it ended with Tekla winning the match. And then, of course, in the post-match, she told Natsupoi that this is the real her. Basically, this is revenge for what happened 2 years ago. So basically, if you guys don't remember what happened 2 years ago, let me explain. 2 years ago, there was a 10-woman elimination tag match that led between Cosmic Angels and DDM. And this is what happened. Natsupoi betrayed Julia in the middle of the match, and resulting of course, Natsupoi betraying Julia and joining Cosmic Angels. But Tekla was the one who took it very hard when she betrayed her, so this is more of a payback for that. But of course, Natsupoi tried to get it together, but she couldn't. But luckily, Sayuri Anu has been there, so basically she's been worried. I'm sure she'll get revenge on Tekla, but I think right now her priority, she has to find a way to deal with Clark Connors, because there are those that speculate he may show up in Nagoya this coming weekend. Now for our main event, we have Mina and Maika, part of EXV. They team up with Toni Storm to take on stars Hanan, Saida, and of course Mayu Iwatani. Now remember, Toni Storm is challenging for the IWGP Women's Championship against Mayu Iwatani. So basically that's the whole point of the story. But however, it was Hanan who ended up on the wrong side of Storm Zero. And then Toni Storm said in post-match that she's going to take away that belt from her, that she's going to beat her. Now some of you may try to find out, are trying to understand what exactly is going on. If you guys remember, this was in 2017. Mayu got hurt in the title match, and it resulted of Toni Storm, in fact, winning the red belt by default when Mayu Iwatani was injured. There were those that believed that Toni Storm becoming the red belt champion was a mistake. And now it's like Toni Storm is back, but a new version of her to rectify that mistake. So we'll see how that rolls up for that. So for right now, we are done with Stardom, so let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. Now as the clock tickens till we get to WrestleDream. As you know, with the situation between Mox and Bryan Danielson, things are becoming very clear. As you know, Pac and Claudio are trying to persuade Wheeler Yuta to join him. Basically, as you know, they just wanted him. And of course, I don't know what Marina Shafir said in her family's native language, but Mox did stated he never imagined him that he was ever going to win the AEW World Title. But it seems those plans have changed now that, of course, Bryan Danielson is the AEW World Champion. It seems that he wants to put an end to it. And he also said that he will do him a favor, that he'll send him home to his kids. So we'll see how that will get until we get to Wrestle Dream. Now, our first official match starts out with a title match with the AEW International title between Ricochet and Will Ospreay. Now, those who are not familiarized with those two, they have a long-standing history that dates back to New Japan. They often put out the best matches. I don't remember which one is it, but it's one of the best ones. So now it's like their rivalry has been rekindled in every way possible. But, however, this match ended in a draw when both men's shoulders were completely pinned. You see Will Ospreay, he pinned Ricochet, but his shoulders were also pinned. So basically, on the ref's discretion, he saw that. So he had no other choice. But of course, Will Ospreay and Ricochet were telling the fans what they want them to continue. So Justin Roberts get a call from Tony Khan and letting him know they're going to restart the match. So the match restarted like we would have wanted. However, it kind of, altered until Konosuke Takeshita showed up. Now remember, Takeshita was not happy or pleased with Will Ospreay being involved. As you know, he teamed up with Kyle Fletcher in the Casino Battle Royale tag team setup. So that sort of thing. But, however, it seems that he's aiming for the AEW International title. But you got to ask yourselves, was this out of his own personal thing, or Don Callis had anything to do with this? I would like to think Konosuke Takeshita has his own agenda in mind, while Don Callis left with Kyle Fletcher. So we'll see where that goes. Now, of course, Mercedes Moné talked about the 5-year anniversary of AEW, and then of course we saw the arrival of MVP. He showed up, give him his card. Now I don't know what his motives are, but it seems that we will get to that closer. Now we do see an interview with the Guns, with both Austin and Colton. As you know, they're not happy with the result of what happened. Of course, Juice Robinson was attacked during the Lumberjack match this past weekend against Hangman and Jeff Jarrett. Well, Hangman tried to kill Juice with hanging him. Well, let's just say Hangman decided not to take any chances with the Guns and attacked them in the back, so possibly leaving Juice Robinson vulnerable with no backup. Now, we did see a bit of a TV time with Jericho, along with Big Bill and Brian Keith. Now, I knew this was going to happen. Now, those who know Jericho, he actually called himself El Ocho, which means the 8th, meaning that he has won 8 championships. It doesn't matter from which promotion. So he now decides, I'm going to El Nueve, which means 9. And of course, it was the obvious one, was against Mark Briscoe. Now, of course, Mark Briscoe knows he's not an idiot. He knows that he lost to Jericho. He knows he pinned him, so he's willing to do that. However, Jericho crossed the line by saying that Mark will never be good as his brother Jay. And that's the last thing, of course, Mark Briscoe needs to hear. Don't try to disrespect his brother. And we know what a great person Jay Briscoe is. So this is going to happen at Wrestle Dream. So I can't wait to see it. Now, Darby Allin, as you know, he is currently right now not happy with the results of losing to Moxley this past week. Due to the fact, as you know, Moxley was saying that he is not ready to become the face of AEW and all that. So that puts him in a state where it's like he can't allow this to happen. So he knows there's nothing he can do to get back on the AEW title picture. So he's putting himself in a position where he's issuing an open challenge at Wrestle Dream. But the real question we ask, who's going to be the one to do it? Now, some people said it's going to be Swerve. I mean, I highly doubt that, but we'll see where we get there. Now, our next match, we have Hangman Page versus Juice Robinson. Of course, this was going to happen. Juice, as you know, I mentioned, the Guns are currently out of the picture due to the attack by Hangman in the back, leaving Juice Robinson vulnerable. Now, the real question, can Juice get himself out of this? Well, he's unable to do so because apparently Hangman low-blowed him and then gave him the buckshot lariat to win the match. However, during the post-match, Hangman decided to choke him out this time, but all of a sudden, you just breathed with the switchblade. He's back, to save his compadre Juice. But however, the real question is, he is back completely. Now, there's two things in mind he has. He's not concerned of Hangman Page, but he knows the kind of person he is. But his biggest goal is the AEW World Title. That is something that will be on his goal. And I'm sure Hangman's going to stop him because, as you know, Hangman has been determined to get back into the title picture for an AEW World Title shot. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, Jack Perry made his appearance and his little bust that he did. We're trying to find out who will be the next open challenger. However, no need further. The wrestler Katsuyori Shibata issued the challenge. Jack Perry said he'll think about it, and then when Shibata had his back turned, he attacked him and told him he accept the challenge at Wrestle Dream. Now, we do see Britt Baker, the hometown girl, take on Serena Deeb. Now, of course, Mariah May has been, as you know, scouting potential challengers, So most likely, Britt Baker could be a potential challenger, so we'll see about that. But however, of course, Britt Baker hasn't lost her step until she put Serena Deeb in a lockjaw. And then, of course, Serena Deeb, who became the sore loser, attacked Britt Baker by attacking her knee. But thank God for Queen Aminata to save the day. So basically, the feud between Queen Aminata and Serena Deeb is not yet diminished. So we will see where that leads. Now, earlier in the day, they said that Taz was attacked. Apparently, he was unable to do his job in commentary. He was attacked in a parking lot in Philly. Nigel McGuinness took over as the responsibilities as, of course, commentator. But Hook was interviewed. He's been unhinged. Apparently, he is not happy with the results about what happened to his dad. Now, some people recently have been blaming Christian for this because he said Hook line seeker. I mean, there's no way it could be Christian. But I wouldn't be putting my ducks in a row with that, but we will see what happens. Hopefully we find out who was responsible for that. Now, of course, Mariah May, as you know, she's not happy with the results of Willow Nightingale getting involved last week, but however, Willow got in his face, so we could see a potential match between those two because, of course, Mariah's calling Willow a failure for losing 2 belts, which is, of course, the New Japan Strong Women's belt, unable to win the Owen, and then, of course, the CML Women's World Title. But, of course, we could see Willow get the AEW World Title real soon at some point. But we will see what happens. Now, we do see Private Party making their way into, of course, the business. But, of course, they took on the Iron Savages. Now, the Iron Savages are no joke. But during this time, during the match between them, Stokely has been observing. Now, we know that recently Stokely has been scouting tag teams. It seems, in my opinion, maybe Private Party are in his sights. So we'll see where that goes from there. But, however, but it was, of course, the gin juiced by Private Party onto Brosnan that allowed them to win. But, however, now that things have been interesting for them, there is one thing they have unfinished business: the AEW World Tag Team titles. Now, there is one thing that is the history of AEW. It was, of course, not too long ago that it was Private Party who defeated the Bucks in the tournament for the AEW Tag Team title. So that has always been weighing in on the shoulders of the Young Bucks, something they cannot get out of the business. Even if they defeat them, that particular match has always haunted them. However, of course, the Bucks were intending to deal with them, and then Jack Perry showed up and attacked them from behind. And then, of course, Shibata showed up to even the odds. But, of course, Christopher Daniels showed up and decided to put a match at, I believe in Collision or Rampage, a 6-man tag match. We have, of course, Private Party and Shibata taking on the Elite. So, that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, many of you know I put this on a report. It's now been confirmed that MVP is now All Elite. But Prince Nana, as you know, he is not happy with the results of what happened. If you guys remember, last week, MVP has said that Prince Nana was a failure to swerve for what happened. He was blaming him, saying, it's your fault that, of course, Swerve Strickland did not get an opportunity to get a shot of the AEW World Title after losing it. And it's your fault for allowing for Hangman Page to burn down the house and not do a Swerve getting revenge. Of course, that was the whole point what was going on. But however, MVP was not going to take this kindly with Nana getting in his face, but all of a sudden he introduced to an associate, and there were rumors that he was going to make his way. Well, he just appeared, and that is Shelton Benjamin. So, yep, we could see the story people have been talking about, the faction that they have been hearing about. So we will see what happens from here on out. So, now let's move on with our main event, I believe. Yes, the main event. The title versus title, the AEW Continental Championship versus the AEW World Title. Now remember, the Continental Championship is defended after 20 minutes. So of course, Okada will stop at nothing to remain as the Continental Championship. But however, that's exactly what happened. They exceeded that. But however, Okada has to maintain to get the AEW World Title in order to bring it back to the Elite. However, that plan was spoiled with the arrival of Pac and Claudio, which distracted Okada. Now, you probably would think this would have been distracted for Daniel Bryanson, but no. It seems Moxley has a better plan. It's more like he's telling for everyone, even Christian Cage, stay out of my way. I want the title, and I don't care who you are. That title is mine. So, because of the distraction, Bryan Danielson won by doing the backslide. However, of course, Okada was not happy. He attacked Bryan Danielson, and then he flipped off, of course, Pac and Claudio for screwing him. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Elite intended to do something about it. But, however, it was a scenario where, of course, Pac and Claudio hold him. But, however, Mox saying that this was not about him, that this is something bigger than him. So it's like he's saying someone is pulling the strings. So but he intending to take out the hurt, of course, Bryan Danielson. But luckily, Riddler Yuta showed up to save the day. But Yuta said, of course, that he is not a kid to someone to order him around. So he said if you want to get to Bryan Danielson, that he has to get through him. So we will see how things will progress with them. But for now, we'll end things here with AEW and move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events with the promotions, starting with GCW here. As you know, on the 11th of October, we will have Blood on the Hills 3 in LA at the UCC. They just announced Garbage Daddies, consisting of Alec Price and Cole Roderick, will be taking on C4, consisting of Cody Chun and Guillermo Rosas. So that's going to be a really fun match. Now, two new shows have been announced from GCW as well. Bloodsport 12, that will take place on the 29th of November in Jersey City. Not yet has been confirmed who will be involved. I wouldn't be surprised if certain wrestlers will be making their way there too. And then, of course, on the 1st of December in Chicago, Say You Will be there. So we don't know who will be part of the lineup, but as the time progresses, we will find out. And also, Myron Reed has been announced that he will be involved in 2 shows with GCW. The first one is with in Chicago, in Louisville, Kentucky, for Chaos in Kentucky on the November 14th, and the Gateway to the Death on the 15th of November as well in St. Louis. Now moving on to other promotions, we do have, of course, House of Glory with Salvation on the 18th of October. They just announced the debut of Alley Catch. Many of you may have seen her in either in Wrestling Revolver or GCW, so she'll be making her debut. Now, as you know, we have the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling for their upcoming 2-day event in October on the 19th and the 20th for Forge of Excellence. Mike Rollins will be involved. Now, many of you may not know who he is. He's a Canadian wrestler. I've seen him participate in many of Evil Uno's promotion, Mystery Wrestling, where he has this unique way of being a wrestler. If you guys haven't seen him, check him out. So, you know what I mean. Now on to developments here. Fightful Select reports that AEW Dynamite and Collision will be simulcast on Max. So this is something that's been discussed for quite some time. So we're looking forward to that. Now for some interesting news that's been surrounding. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that Sammy Guevara has been stretchered out during a Ring of Honor tapings. Apparently, he was unconscious after being knocked out. So, uh, prayers will be set out to him. Hopefully, he's okay. I don't want nothing to happen to him. I remember when I first knew of him was because of his vlog. So, kind of interesting to hear that. But I hope he's okay. And I send prayers to his wife, Tay, and his daughter, Luna, that hope he makes it okay. Now, more with AEW. AEW has filed a trademark called King of Hearts, which is a phrase a thing that was been used by none other than the late Owen Hart. Now, I'm sure we're going to have WWE fans pissed about it, but as you know, there's been a lot of dispute between Owen's widow and his family towards WWE about how things happen. But yeah, so there's that. Now, for some Joshi Wrestling fan base, you may or may not have heard of this wrestler named Honori Hanan. She's originally was part of the promotion SEAdLINNG, but recently she just made her return during a SEAdLINNG show, and this is what she had to say announcing her return. I've watched pro wrestling for the first time in a long time, and I love SEAdLINNG's pro wrestling, so I couldn't give up and wanted to try again. So I talked to Natsuki Tayo-san, and she kindly accepted. I will do my best to re-debut within this year. Thank you for support. Now, I don't know much about her or what was the main reasons why she left. Hopefully, I'll find out more. But it's interesting that certain wrestlers who used to wrestle. I mean, recently we had a K Drog who actually was part of Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling, and now she's part of PPP Tokyo. But yeah, so we'll see how that rolls up. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is in our news updates and everything else. I think we are done with everything else. So I believe it's time to call it a day. Okay, so hope everybody enjoys this episode with every review I've done. Coming up, as you know, we have TNA and Ring of Honor, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I'm a little concerned about the Ring of Honor due to the fact I hope we don't see what was the match that resulted of course, Sammy getting knocked out from the update that I put out, but hopefully not. But things will be better. I haven't decided yet to watch, but I also am aware that Sendai Girls have started their recent event where it involves the younger girls involving in a match representing companies from other companies such as Stardom, SEAdLINNG, and Diana, wherever else. But hopefully, I get the chance to see that. We'll see how things will go from there. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is and we'll continue to move forward. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.